What do you say we cut the chit-chat a-hole?
This year we're going to grab the bull by the balls and kick those punks off campus.
Well, looks like the cows have come home to roost.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the entertainment.ie movie show. In a couple of moments, you're going to see an interview with Maisie Williams by our TV editor Fiona Flynn. And we have tickets to the premiere of A Shape of Water to give away. Oh, yeah. It's on in a couple of weeks. You can win tickets to it. It's on in Dublin City Centre by telling us the TV show that Maisie Williams stars in. We're going to review Early Man in a second, but tell us the TV show that Maisie Williams stars in below, and you could win the tickets. Let's have a quick look at the interview now.
Maisie, it is so cool to meet you in person.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Loved the movie. It was so funny, so sweet, and a world away from previous roles, I guess. The likes of Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. Couldn't be any more different.
Yeah. Was that nice? Is it nice to do something fun and wholesome and family friendly for a change?
Absolutely, but also still have like the complete intelligence of like a film that is for an adult audience, you know. It's not in any way restricting like your skills as an actor. Like I think people see, I don't know, I think I never gave these films the credit that they deserve, I guess. And then, you know, you enjoy these films when you're any age, and I think that's really, really clever to be able to do that. And so I'm thrilled to be a part of a kids' film that's actually appeals to everyone.
Yeah, definitely, because there was so many jokes in there that was like, well, that's for the adults. You know?
Yeah. Just like right on the line. And
yeah, totally.
I'm joined, as always, by Brian Lloyd, movies editor and staff writer and critic, Dee Malumbi. Dee, you saw this one. You really liked this.
I loved it.
And you actually, we might try this on as a podcast next week. You caught up with Nick Park, the director,
That's
too.
right, yeah.
So what was the charm here? Like, it's a bit of an old school vibe to it in terms of animation.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it is kind of old school in terms of animation, but it doesn't feel kind of out of date either. It was just really lovely. There's something just really kind of appealing about that animation style. Like we've talked in the past about like ugly animations, example, the Emoji Movie, but there's just something really kind of gorgeous looking, and like the detail and like the characters and the scenery and everything. It's really so gorgeous that you can appreciate it both as a kid and as an adult. As well, I love that this film is just so full of humour that there are kind of jokes for the grown-ups and for the kids there.
What kind of animation is it for people who don't have a clue about?
It's stop motion.
So it's stop motion capture animation. So Aardman Animations have been doing this kind of animation style for years. Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, they did Chicken Run and stuff, and they have dabbled in like CGI in the past, like they did Arthur Christmas and Flushed Away, I think are their two CGI ones, but they've kind of gone back now and done like what they're kind of renowned for, which is stop motion capture animation.
So it's a bit of a retro vibe to it. It's obviously set like in the caveman days.
Yeah, it's set in like prehistoric times.
Wasn't the Croods? The Croods.
Yeah.
That was on TV over Christmas. Was actually a bit of crack.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was kind of DreamWorks.
Ryan Reynolds.
That was.
They're making a sequel to that. So have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Is it similar? Is it similar to that one?
Oh no, it's a very different story, and I really like the Croods as well. No, both movies are very enjoyable, but they're very different. Like.
Okay, so there's a lot of humour here.
Yeah.
And I saw, I think it was Donald Clark tweeting about, you know, there's a few jokes in here that you actually kind of have to be in your 40s.
Yeah, which is nice about it.
Because like it's kind of like that is the thing about Aardman. I've always thought, like, we're only just saying this before we came on air. Like, you look at Creature Comforts, the one that they won the Oscar for back in the 80s, and that was literally people on the street. They put a microphone in front of them, and then they animated the
it was like the BBC things.
The BBC thing, with like polar bears and stuff like this. And it was just such a stupid idea in the sense of like random people on the street, but their faces are completely changed to look like that. And how simple that is, and how smart it is.
And the new Irish version, Give Up Your Old Sins. They do that with the skills and they animated them then after. It's a really smart way of doing it.
Brilliant idea.
Okay, so if you don't have kids, if you don't have a family member or whatever you can take to this, would you just go yourself?
I think that you could just go yourself. And one thing I have to say about this, and I know you agree with me in praising it, it's only 85 minutes long. You just don't get movies that are just that concise and yet so kind of fulfilling as well. Like you don't leave it saying, I wish it had kind of gone on longer. It's just kind of the perfect one to go to and to leave like just with a big smile.
They should leave you wanting more, Brian, shouldn't they? Movies.
That is it. I mean that's. There's so many films nowadays that I think go on. Completely. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just directors nowadays feel that they have to give people a bang for their buck because, you know, you've got Netflix and you've got TV and you've got whatever. They feel that it has to be this big, drawn-out experience.
See, I think that's the thing now. I think if people are used to being able to watch something on their laptop or their smart TV at home, that's 2 odd hours long, and go to the jacks, make a cup of tea, whatever they need to do. In a cinema, it has to be particularly comfortable cinema.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? And
that's
if you're
true.
kind of sardined in or whatever, it can get a little bit tricky. But it's good that it's short.
Yeah.
And it obviously left D wanting more as well, which is a good sign. Okay, let's move on to something that you two guys weren't overly enthused about.
Actually,
This
and
is
the
one
Maze-
that overstayed
Yeah,
its welcome.
This
Totally.
is the Maze
Sure.
Runner, the Maze Runner, the Death Cure.
Yeah.
Okay, how many deep are we now in Maze Runner?
This is
This
the
is
third,
third.
the
Okay.
final chapter.
And the star, whose name is
Dylan O'Brien.
Dylan O'Brien, was injured on the set of this.
Pretty
So
viciously.
so this one was pushed back, Brian.
Yeah, apparently he had. My understanding of it is that he had a very horrific accident on the set. Pretty much nearly died from the way they were talking. Like it was pretty. It was very, very bad.
When he had
But-
American Assassin coming out, he did a bit of press around
That's
that. And
right, yeah.
The chap seemed shook still.
Yeah, exactly, and it would. Like I mean, that kind of injury would really have an effect on you. But yeah, I mean, like I don't know, like the second one, which was the Scorch Trials. I tell you right now, you could put a gun to my head and I couldn't tell you what that film is about. And I saw it, and I reviewed it for this site. I couldn't tell you a thing about that. I couldn't pick.
So
one
we've got
scene
the
out.
Hunger Games to blame for this.
Yeah.
And then we've got that other series.
Divergent.
Divergence,
yeah.
which Ascendancy, Descendancy.
Who knows?
All right, it bombed. We're going to put it on TV
Yeah.
now instead. Are these films interchangeable? They
Oh,
all
yeah,
seem quite
pretty
similar.
much.
I don't.
Yeah.
I like the second and third Hunger Games. I like Francis Lawrence as a director. I wasn't
Yeah.
crazy about the first, but they're apart from the Hunger Games, are they?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like what's kind of interesting about the Maze Runner series and where it went is that it felt for me very similar to the Hunger Games trajectory in that, like, in both movies you kind of start with this like small environment, and then as the movies progress everything
Widens
gets
out.
bigger and they go out into the wider world and all the stakes get higher. But what ends up being lost is just like there are too many characters and there are too many plots going on and nothing makes sense anymore. And with the Maze Runner, the Death Cure, just every scene was so elongated, and you know how each one is going to end, and you don't need it to be so long. And just there were no kind of redeemable or likable characters. There was kind of like mindless explosions.
Do you think Dylan O'Brien's
So
at
many
home
plot
going, this
holes.
film nearly bleeding killed me?
Yeah.
People better like it.
Yeah, well, like, not even that. But see, that's just it. If it hadn't been for that terrible accident, you know, like this would be the kind of film. Look, he'd be like, "I'm putting it out there. It's done now. This is the last one in the series. I signed this contract when I was 20. I needed the money."
They've done quite well, haven't they?
Like,
at the box office?
they've done fine.
enough to make a third one. Come on.
Well,
So
like-
we just
Yeah.
talk about what happened with
I mean,
Divergent.
unlike,
Like,
unlike say like the Mortal Instruments as well,
Yeah.
which they cancelled
completely
after the
just
first
after
one.
the
So
first one, 'cause it
there
did
are
so
ones
badly.
that just bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think what this one was the fact that they could be made quite cheaply.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. They could be made very, very cheaply.
What's cheap in Hollywood nowadays? Like a blockbuster cheap now is like, we're going to talk
90.
about downsizing in a second. That's 70 million.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cheap. That's a bit mad. That's a bit mad. They were talking about the Danny McBride playing Crocodile Dundee's son
Yeah.
with Chris Hemsworth, and whether that was a film and whether anybody who hasn't seen the viral videos are on site. It was an ad for the Australian
Yeah.
Tourism Board, a really smart ad.
Really smart.
And it was, and I was reading a piece about it in Dark Horizons, which is an Australian site, really good movie site, and they were saying this looks like it would have been a $30 million movie. Do they exist anymore in cinemas?
Dude, look at Get Out. Get Out was made
Get Out
for-
was a 4.9. That's micro budget. That's
Right,
completely
but
and
Shape
that's
of Water.
kind of their
Yeah,
thing.
Fair
That's
enough.
Blumhouse's
Shape
thing.
of Water was 20 million.
20 million.
Oh, really?
20 million.
And you can win
That's
tickets to Shape
imagine
of Water,
that.
Brian. If what were you listening?
If you can
if-
tell us the name of Maisie Williams' TV show, now come on now and get a grip. Tell me you don't know what that is. But yeah,
Do
Shape
you
of
like how
Water.
Brian? Do you like how Brian is mansplaining and talking down to you all at the same time? There, like,
Jeez,
did you like how he
Brian.
did that? Jesus Christ,
See that?
Brian.
But
Come
I will-
on.
no, but hang on. But yeah, Shape of Water was made for 20 million. And I know you don't like The Shape of Water. You're wrong.
Shape of toilet water.
We'll talk about it when it comes out.
People
But
laugh
me and Brian loved
'Cause
it,
you're
and it's
wrong.
amazing.
Yeah,
Someone
because you're
tickets in.
wrong.
No, in fairness, I'm in the minority here. Like, it's been
You
nominated
are.
for 13 Oscars. I'm in the minority here. I
don't
just,
like it. Don't like it.
She just just did the fish. It was weird.
Keanu Reeves isn't in it and Patrick
Keanu Reeves
Wilson
isn't
isn't in it. Shit, don't like it. Don't like it.
Speaking of which, speaking of Keanu Reeves, about that John Wick, huh? About that John Wick Chapter 2. Can't believe that wasn't nominated for an Oscar. Okay, let's move on to Downsizing. You guys haven't seen this one. I'm the only one that's seen this one.
Yeah.
So you guys need to ask me some shit now. Come
Okay,
on
I'll
now.
tell you what, right?
Okay,
here's-
go. You
I'll go
host.
for one for you, right? Because Alexander Payne, who did Nebraska and who did the Descendants, this seems very odd for him.
Yeah, it's very high concept. So
Yeah,
the-
that's what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
high concept in the sense that I would not expect him to make a film like this.
Yeah, I mean, and but that's probably why it was something a little bit different from. But the most interesting thing, initially about this was that Matt Damon turned down Manchester by the Sea for it. So Matt Damon was cast in the lead role, I think, in Manchester by the Sea, and he was going to direct it. And then he ended up doing neither and just producing it. But
He's
obviously,
picking himself now, though.
yeah, but I mean, this is the thing. So, and then ended up in the funding for Downsizing fell anyway, and the film wasn't made at the point that should have been made. Matt Damon is one of the best things about this. He's embracing the dad bod, he's embracing the middle age thing. The high concept is, I mean, it's kind of explained in the ad, although the ad tonally is a little bit off because the ad is telling you, look, it's comedy and it goes in some strange directions. I don't mean like David Lynch, let's do some weird shit, strange directions. It's quite existential, and if you look at all of Alexander Payne's movies, there's a central character kind of wondering or figuring shit out, and it's it's like quite a lonely central character, and that's very much prevalent here. So he's kind of pulling you in with the high concept. He's pulling you in with the we're going to shrink you, stuff costs less, and you get to save the environment. But then there's bigger questions kind of answered that don't quite come together. And I think I was speaking to Dee about this yesterday. When you look at something like Rotten Tomatoes, because Dee was like, you didn't like any of the films that were nominated for Best Film at the Oscars. I did. I just didn't love any of them that I've seen. And I mean, exception of Dunkirk, I liked a lot. Dunkirk's probably my favourite out of a lot of them. But my point is, to be that broadly appealing, to get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, is exactly, you have to be extremely broadly appealing. To hang your balls out there, for want of a better phrase, you're going to end up 50-60% on Rotten Tomatoes. Downsizing's at that 50% on Rotten Tomatoes on a button, I think. And I just think it's people sit firmly either side of the fence, and I quite liked it. I made strange decisions. So decisions you're not used to seeing happen on screen. You're like, and he's with her. And
It's weird. Yeah, go on.
Oh no, I was just going to say, just from what I've heard, like I haven't seen the movie, but from what I've heard, it kind of reminds me a bit of Looper. I know you guys disagree with me about Looper, but I thought it like totally went absolutely rubbish in the second half. But that it starts off with this great idea, and then once you get, it's true. Once it gets into actual like story and stuff, it kind of loses the plot, and it just doesn't kind of really make sense, and it does weird things.
I mean, an element of that as well is, did you buy Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a young Bruce Willis, and do you buy Joseph Gordon-Levitt as an action star? We haven't seen a Robin movie, with The Dark Knight Rises. People kind of got excited about that. I think the Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I don't know, appreciation society's just kind of waned, I think, in the past couple of years. When other actors have just gotten better roles around his age bracket, have just gotten better roles, like the Jake Gyllenhaals and stuff of this world, who was actually robbed for Stronger, or generally robbed in the award season for nominations.
Do you know what I actually watched last weekend again, and I hadn't seen it since I saw it in the cinemas, but I tell you what, it stands up. Nocturnal Animals.
Great film.
Brilliant film.
I still haven't had a chance to see
Get
it.
on it.
Believe.
Seriously.
I know.
It's a gorgeous film. Tom Ford.
So good looking. Like, I was watching it, and we did an interview with Seamus McGarvey. It's up on site if you want to have a read of it. But Clang, drop the name. But genuinely, you could pause, because I was watching it on my laptop.
Seamus McGarvey said Irish director of photography. One of the best ever.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
But I was watching it on my laptop, and it was basically like we were talking about. You could just pause it and then go up and do something. And when I came back to it, like, you could pause any frame in Nocturnal Animals, and it's like, that's gorgeous. I could take a picture of that and like put that.
Tom Ford's whole thing is aesthetics.
That's
the
it.
fact that the film, because he wrote it as well, the fact that the film came together so well. Anyway, and you might have done that well at the box office. Might have been semi-ignored.
I think it was. It was overlooked.
Downsizing is a bit more, hasn't been as universally praised.
Yeah.
But the people that dug it really dug it, and I think it's going to be one that is maybe revisited a little bit. And I kind of feel bad for Matt Damon in some senses, in that he's had a bad run. Like Suburbicon bombed, The Great Wall bombed. But I mean, last year then he had The Martian, which was a huge hit. The last Bourne movie did quite well too at the box office. So, it's a tricky one for him, because he's at that age now. He's late 40s now, I think, where, okay, where do I go with my career here? Because Clooney segued to directing. Brad Pitt turns up.
And
Brad Pitt
Bourne's kind of finished now, so.
Yeah, and Brad Pitt turns up every few years and just like kind of makes an odd film, and then we'll make a blockbuster World War Z now 2 with David Fincher.
And if he's going to end up doing that Tarantino film about Charles Manson as well.
DiCaprio not casting that.
DiCaprio was casting it, but apparently they want Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise for it as well.
Oh my god, that's like a heartthrob mania.
And Margot Robbie's going to be in it as well. She's going to play Sharon Tate.
Really?
Apparently Tarantino wants Margot Robbie for Sharon Tate. and they want Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt to star in it as well. Apparently, he's got 2 like major roles written for them.
Yeah, he's trying to do something similar with Django Unchained, but Will Smith
Yeah.
didn't want to do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
He's
so-
initially cast as Django. For Jamie Foxx got it.
Could you imagine Will Smith in that though?
Yeah, Will Smith's a really good actor. He's kind of in terms of the roles that he picks, he's quite. It's Tom Cruise in the 90s, early 90s. That's the way Will Smith's kind of how he picks his roles.
Hang on, no, that's sorry now, but like Tom Cruise did Magnolia.
Yeah, but
the
when was the
90s.
last?
Yeah, true.
You see, I love how Brian comes up with a thing and I'm like, no, Brian. He's like,
No,
yeah,
but you're
right.
saying no.
He
yeah,
folds
but like,
so easy.
it's not about folding. It's about like strong opinions loosely held. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Your hair looks
Alright?
good though. I like your hair like that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's too long, you need to cut
I
it.
think it's too long. We disagree.
long.
Disagree.
Yeah.
I generally start off taking the piss out of Brian. We're going to end taking the piss out of Brian. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to Odeon Cinema for the sponsor, and thanks to Charlotte Reed in production. See you next time.